Good morning, everyone. It's Meg with Chasing Retro. I hope you guys are all doing well this Monday morning. I wanted to come on and tell you guys sort of what I've been up to between projects and also show what I have purchased at my craft reuse store in the past week or so. I've been dealing with a little bit of a head cold that my kids picked up at school and brought home. So I have been really tired and just, the sinuses and the pressure and the headaches and all that comes with a head cold. So I've been sort of laying low and doing a lot of resting. And it worked out perfectly because it allowed me to get to some painting projects that I've been wanting to do for a while that have just been stacking up on my shelf next to me, and things that were long overdue that I wanted to do for our home. And I'm going to inject some video here of some of the things that I did. I used some acrylic paints and I made a sort of an oblong 60s-esque painting of daisies. I've been wanting to do this for a while. My inspiration piece was a piece of art from Facebook Marketplace that I missed out on about a year ago. So I screenshotted the post and I was like, one of these days I'm going to paint that. So I used that as my sort of guide to how I laid out my flowers and did the leaves and even the splatter paint. And I put that on top of a shelf in our bedroom. We have recently redone our bedroom to be more of a boho theme. It was very traditional before. We had a sleigh bed. We got rid of that and got a different headboard. So, of course, you guys know, or maybe you don't, but my favorite color is yellow and my husband's second favorite color is yellow. So we love yellow, and it is a room that we can put lots of yellow in to make mornings cheery and bright. And so I did a little shelf with some faux greenery and things like that from IKEA, and put the framed art up there, and I think it looks really cute. I also did a paint by number that I found at Michael's not too long ago of a cat, and I was actually going to change the colors of the flowers surrounding the cat, but I decided after I started just to go ahead and do it those colors, even though it didn't really match the room. I thought it was cute and I liked the way it looked together. So it looks like our cat Mittens a little bit, so I did that. And then I decoupaged with fabric a mushroom that I found at Hobby Lobby on clearance earlier this year. It was marked down to like $3.50, and it was sort of a particle board type material. I left the stem of the mushroom as it was, which is like a faux wood grain, and the top of it was white with light pink daisies, but they weren't the kind of daisies that I like. It looked like something for a little girl's room. So I got some fabric thanks to Mardell, who is probably watching. Mardell, it was your idea that set this into motion. She gave me the idea of using some of my vintage fabric and decoupaging the mushroom top. So I did, and it turned out great. I don't have it hung on the wall yet. As you can see, it's on the floor, but it will be hanging in our room. I actually took everything off of one of our walls. I have 2 gallery walls in our room, and I wanted to redo one of them to allow me to move our dresser over about 1.5 feet. So I patched all those holes, and I have the artwork stacked up and ready to hang once I feel 100%. So that's what I've been doing inside the house. Outside the house, just, the way it is at the end of summer. We had a couple of days where we felt like fall here, but then it quickly went back up to the upper 80s and 90s. So my plants are struggling. I'm having to water them every other day. We're sort of in a semi-drought, so that's not fun. But we have hummingbirds, and they are filling themselves as much as they can with all of that extra calorie nutrition to let them fly south not too long from now. So they'll probably be around another month. So I like to keep my feeders clean and full so they will have something to eat so they can store up their energy for that long trip. And then, as you saw in the beginning of the video also, we have lots of squirrels and chipmunks in our yard. More chipmunks right now than squirrels, but we have had an albino, I guess that's what it is, an albino chipmunk in our yard for about 3 years, and he's sort of become our little buddy, and we look forward to seeing him every morning. So I took a little bit of a video of him and put him at the beginning of the video to bring you a smile. You were probably trying to figure out, why are we watching a chipmunk? It probably looks like a mouse from that far away, but I swear it's a chipmunk. So another thing that I worked on this weekend, I got this in Happy Meal. I'm pretty sure it was from Cindy, probably over a year ago. And I'm so ashamed to say it, but I could not open the package for a very long time. But I finally did this weekend. It was a Holly Hobby decoupage kit. And it came with a little piece of wood and a little tiny piece of sandpaper. So I sanded it and then brought it back in the house and painted it like this. I wanted to match this blue, but I didn't want it to be quite this bold of a blue. I wanted more of a country blue. So I painted it with acrylic paint. And then I tore around the image and inked the edges with my ink, and then glued it down with Mod Podge, and then put Mod Podge over the whole thing. Then I used a toothpick and white paint, and I made polka dots to sort of mimic what's on her dress. And I think it just turned out super precious. I have to do the top varnish on it, and then I can put the hanger on it and put it on the wall. But I just thought it was so adorable. If you ever see one of these kits, get it, because it was really fun. It took me about an hour, and it was so fun. Also, I love little signs, you know, the kind that you put on 3-tiered trays or just set on a table with like a display of things, like right now, pumpkins and things for fall. We haven't decorated our house for fall yet because I started feeling bad the weekend I was going to do that, but I hope to do that this week. But I'm also sort of cheap, and so I don't want to spend $4 or $5 for these little wooden signs. So I make my own. My husband and son have a woodworking shop, and I asked them to cut some scraps off of some boards for me and sand them for me, so they did. And so this is all I do. I just take the end cuts of these pieces of lumber, sand them really well, and then I coat them with acrylic paint. I have in the past tried to hand letter with acrylic paint and draw my own things, and it's very difficult. I don't care how steady your hand is. Something this small, it's really hard to use a paintbrush with acrylic paint and make it look professional. So this time, I decided to try to find some free images online. This was actually a free SVG that I found, and I converted it to a PNG and shrunk it down in my editing program, printed it on cardstock, and then decoupaged it to the front. And I think it turned out so adorable. And then I need to put a clear coat of varnish on this as well. And then I did one more. I actually designed this one because I could not find a quote that I really liked that was funny without being crass. And I wanted something that was just sort of tongue-in-cheek kind of humor that looks, you know, perfect, but when you read it, you actually giggle a little bit. So I created this in Affinity and found these leaves. They are all free SVG files, and painted this one brown. And I will varnish this as well. But now I have 2 little new signs to put on my tier tray or in the middle of my dining table with the fall pumpkins and leaves that I put out. All right, so that is what I've been working on for my house, and some of these things have been long overdue. The 80s journals, though fun, it took up all of my time, and so a lot of things that I was hoping to get done didn't get done for a couple of months, including like I needed to go through and completely purge my laundry room shelves and clean those out. I did that. I still have to get to my pantry. It's probably full of lots of expired things, but little baby steps makes me happy. So I also went ahead and started on some of the covers for the Heidi journals. Here is one of them. These I'm making 5, and they've all been requested by people. And unlike in the past, if someone requests and reserves one of the journals, I do reservations, but I don't do customs right now. I'm going to start sort of pre-planning the project with an estimated time of completion and estimated cost. And then once the reserver okays that, I will move forward on construction. I just think that's a better way to do that, and I have not been doing that well in the past, so I'm going to be a lot more proactive in being forthcoming with my plans, so there's no surprises or missed expectations or anything like that. But these are probably going to be either 1 or 2 signatures, just because I don't have as much ephemera for these as I'd like, at least not to stretch across 5 journals. So these will be smaller in, thickness than in the past, but that's fine. They'll still be cute. This is one that is the same back and front. I think this cover is adorable. I did have one request for a little golden cover, so I have this one. Here is one of the requests. This book is very much loved. It's sort of chewed on the corners, so this will probably end up with book corners, depending on how it looks at the end. But this is one of the Whitman's Junior Classic editions. And then I had someone request the cover of the Shirley Temple VHS movie. And these are always interesting and fun to do. These are a little challenging to me because obviously the spine is already made, so that makes it easy, but the way you have to cut pages for these is a little bit unique and different, so I kind of have to turn my head a little differently to think about orientation and the best use of paper without ending up with a lot of extra scrap. I think, let's see, that's 4. I know there's one more. Oh yes, it's behind me. I have one more that is a paperback that will be turned into a hardback. And I actually have that in process right now with the reserver. And so these will be fun. I think these are going to be really fun. Originally, I was going to try to keep it to a very strict color theme of red, blue, yellow, and green. Primarily red, blue, and yellow with some white, but after looking at my ephemera and things like that, I was like, you know what? The theme is going to be Heidi. I'm not going to be super strict on color. As you guys know, primary colors in scrapbooking paper are very hard to find unless they're just geometric or very childlike. Like when I say that, like back to school. Okay, you can find back to school scrapbook paper with primary colors, but I challenge all of you to try to find primary colored floral paper pads. You just don't see them ever. It's very hard to find paper pads with true red in them unless they're Christmas. And I don't know why that is. If I could have my wish, I would wish that someone would come up with a huge line of primary colored florals. Bright, bold, not pink, not magenta, not maroon, red. Red, royal blue, and bright yellow. I think that would be gorgeous. So because that does not exist, and because even a really nice printer cannot print a true red, at least not the way I think it should look, I'm going to flex on my colors a little bit and try to just mainly go with the theme of Heidi. There will be a lot of red and green and yellow, but I'm not going to be super stressed about the colors like I was going to at first. All right, the last thing I wanted to show you guys was the items that I found at my craft reuse. I found a lot of great scraps this week. Some weeks I may find 1 or 2. This week was like scrap heaven, I guess. Y'all, I've never found chenille. reuse store ever. And I don't believe this is vintage chenille. I believe it's some of the newer stuff. But still, I'm just grateful to have it. I found some pastel chenille in a light yellow and a pink. I am so excited about this. I've been wanting to make my daughter a chenille, like, stuffy. That sounds funny, but you know, the little people, the little animals that are like a pillow. They're flat like a pillow, but they're animals. And part of their torso is chenille. So I might do that with some of this. And then I found the pink. The yellow was sort of wavy lines and the pink is straight. And it's a very beautiful pink. It's like a calamine lotion pink, barely pink. In fact, on the camera, it kind of looks white as I'm looking at it, but it is definitely pink. So those were scraps. And then also, this was my favorite piece of the scrap bin of the day. Look at this. This is not vintage, but it immediately made me smile and giggle, so I knew I had to take it home. It's turtles on scooters and skateboards and bicycles. And I don't know what he's doing. He's just walking upright. But I just thought that was so, so, so cute. It was with a lot of other pieces of material that either had turtles on them or they were green. So I have a feeling somebody made a baby quilt that was turtle themed. But oh my goodness, is that not so cute? And look, it's already in a quilting strip shape. So I can make probably 8 or 10 tags just by gluing this down and trimming the edge. I love putting like quirky fabrics like this in eclectic journals. This was also, no, this was not a scrap. This was not a scrap. This was I want to say it was a yard piece. I had never seen anything like this before. It's very gauzy, a very gauzy thin cotton. If there's a name for this, let me know. But I thought it was so pretty. I think it'd be a beautiful journal cover. Or you could cut around the flowers and make, you know, appliques out of them. So amazing. And it's, of course, my favorite color combo of all time. In the vintage arena, at least. Someone had obviously worked on a boho project because I found these types of materials in every color. Please tell me what this is if you know. It's cotton, but it's a color interwoven with gold thread. So it has the sheen effect. And I got the orange and the green, but they also had hot pink and turquoise. I decided against those because I think I already have those colors. I hope I do, because it's too late now. But I just thought they were so pretty, and if I ever do a boho journal, I could use these. I also thought this would be pretty as like to make leaves or something on a journal that's forest themed, or any type of magical themed journals. Anything like this would just be stunning. Yes, this is just one little piece, and yes, I did pay 25 cents for this piece of scrap because it's so awesome. I have some in the same pattern, but with a dark brown background, but when I saw that royal blue, I was like, oh, I have to have that piece. This is not vintage, but it is obviously vintage inspired. And I think it was a quilting panel of some sort. Or maybe a sample, because it's, you know, or pinking sheared all around. But is this not so cool? The birds are amazing, like bird of paradise or something. But it just looks so groovy. There were other patterns in this pile of fabric, but this was the one that had the boldest colors. So I just picked this one up. I think this would be a cool journal cover. And then I found this little piece of quilting scrap. It's not super vintage, it's probably 80s. But I have a pile to my left for things for my Christmas journals. I'm actually very excited about making Christmas journals this year. That will be what I work on after Heidi. But I thought this, I didn't have anything like this with bells on it. I have gotten a piece of this fabric before, but not this big. It's just a tiny lime green and turquoise paisley, and it's just beautiful. I love it. It's a very finely woven cotton. I sent a picture of this to my daughter when I found it because she loves bunnies. She always has and she always will. Look at this one. It's almost like a picnic blanket look, but these bunnies are just doing various things, mostly lazy things like laying down, eating berries, laying down, drinking a little drink with a straw. Just chilling right here with butterflies, and then up here we have one that's taking a nap. And this little chick is yawning, I think. I just thought that was so cute. They're so spread out, I'll probably cut them apart and make journaling cards out of them, versus if I were to make a book cover out of it, it would only show one. So I wonder what this would have been used for. It would have made cute curtains in a nursery, I think. And then this piece of scrap, I think, was the beginning of a little girl's apron. It's just a little front panel, and it already has the pockets made and sewn on. They're gathered, and then there's a little piece of eyelet. So I thought, oh my goodness, how cute would this be to make a journal out of and have a pocket on the front and the back. I don't think this is vintage either, but it is a cute little print. And this is not vintage. I looked it up. I think it was a Joann's flannel print from maybe 15 years ago. But y'all, I could not get over how adorable this was. Have y'all seen this print before? Singing flowers. It reminds me of the scene in Alice in Wonderland, but they look much more friendly than those flowers did. So cute. And it's a weird shaped piece. I mean, obviously somebody has cut, I don't know what they made out of this. Maybe a bib or something, I don't know. But oh my word, it was so cute. I had to have that. I got a half yard of this beautiful, it looks like a sheet almost. It's just a loose weave cotton lavender rose, like a cabbage rose type motif. And it looked very Anna Griffin to me. And I don't really have a lot of purple. So when I see a pretty print in a lavender or purple, I try to grab it, because one of these days I'm going to want to do a purple journal and I want to be prepared. This is not vintage. I've seen this in other color waves, but I couldn't pass it up. It was just so adorable. Navy with teal and hot pink. I got all fabric this time, y'all. I just realized that I didn't get anything else. The last thing is the splurge of the day, is what I call this every time when I pay more for one item than anything else. Y'all, this is Swiss dot. And I have white with red dots already, but I only have like half a yard, and this was 2.5 yards. Very excited about this. I will be using this in the Christmas journals. I might even make a cover out of it. I think that would make a stunning cover. Okay, I had to run and grab something. I almost forgot that last weekend we went to an estate sale. It was the last day of the sale, so everything was half off, and I found a very small handful of items, but I was excited about them because they were all things that I need or wanted really bad. I don't have a lot of slides, believe it or not. I probably had 30, and half of them were plastic, and I ended up donating those to my craft reuse store because I really only like to use the cardboard ones. Well, I found 3 boxes of cardboard slides They have pictures in them, so I'll cut those out probably. It looks like somebody's travels. 1973. They say they're different brands. That one is Africa Chrome. And then this one, these little boxes are just so cute. This one is the ones with the pink, which I really like the pink print. And then this one, I believe, is Kodak. Yeah, Kodachrome. Yep, it looks like just more pictures of maybe a trip out west or something. But yeah, I thought they were a pretty good deal for 50 cents a box. This box is in rough shape, but the other two are a little thicker quality. And I don't know what that is, but that's pretty cool too. I guess it's the negative for those, the negative number. Then I found a sticker album, which I've never found at an estate sale ever. I don't think it's from the 80s. Maybe it is. Oh, look, there's some in here that haven't been stuck down. But it is just, I mean, as you know, these pages are slick, so you can lift them up and put them in other places. So what I might do is take out the ones I don't want and use them in other ephemera, and then keep the ones in that I like and add more of my own. And tuck this maybe into my 80s journal, because I got rid of all my old sticker books that I had. Look, there's Snuggle. I remember when they would put things like this free in packages of things. The little Mrs. Grossman's birds. Whoever this lady is it Maxine? I'm not a fan of Maxine, but I know that she was, you know, a staple of Hallmark cards in the 90s, so I'll probably keep one or two of her. And lots of teddy bears. American Greetings brand. I don't know if this was purchased or if it came free with something, but there's no price on it. And then I found some, this person had a ton of stationery, but not much of it was vintage. But I did find a stack of vintage Christmas cards. So I was very excited because the last time I made Christmas journals, I used a lot of my Christmas stationery up. So now I have a little replenished stock. Some of these actually would be beautiful as a journal topper. So I'm going to have to think about that. This little one, the little paper cards that are folded, I love those. And that's such a vibrant red. That's the kind of red that I really like. And then we have little embossed angels with Jesus and the Holy Family embossed. Who makes this? Salvatorian. This one is my favorite. I don't know what this texture is called when the cards have that on it, but I love those. Interesting background to have red, because normally in this type of setting you would see a blue. But I love that. It's very striking. And then there's several cards with sort of a gold paint spray accent. Look at this one. This one's on watercolor. Just a little chickadee. Look at that retro font. So cool. So cute. He looks like he's leaning backwards or something. This one I thought would make a really cute journal topper. Wouldn't that be cute on the Swiss dot? I think it would be adorable. And he's also embossed. You can see on the back. And then some gold bells. And I found 4 postcards. I had seen these before. 4 or 5? 5 postcards. I have seen these before in, you know, antique stores and stuff, but I didn't want to pay the price, so I was glad to find these. Sort of a Victorian throwback. Look at the back of them. Aren't they pretty? And this one has a decorative envelope. These are all chickadee, I think. Yep. This one looks probably the oldest of all of them. I love the little halos around the candles. Forget me not. There's a church with some gold. Very pretty. These are all ones that I've shown you. That might be it. Yeah. So yeah, that was my find from the past week and a half or so. And fabric and a little bit of paper. But I hope you guys enjoyed this little chatty video. I was just catching y'all up. I really wanted to make some videos this weekend, but just did not feel up for it. My voice was like a jazz singer, and I didn't want to dope up on medicine and tea and try to push through. So I rested my voice this weekend, and I'm excited about making some videos that have been a long time coming this week. The first of which will be a tutorial about sewing on paper, which was a viewer request. So I'll be working on that this week. Look forward to that. I really don't have all the answers, but I will show you what I have learned in the 4 years that I've been sewing on paper. You guys have an awesome day, and I'll see you soon. Bye.